Intel told me my next target was Dr. Gunter Kreidel, an expert in rocket engines. He was traveling across town in an armored convoy. We believed he was carrying documents that would lead me to the V2 production facility, where the other 3 scientists were waiting. I'd identified a point on the route where I could lay a booby trap and stop the convoy. Naturally, the area was defended. I'd expect nothing less.
Hello there everyone, and welcome to the second mission of the Sniper Elite V2 campaign, Schonegerg Streets. So unlike the prologue, I'll be able to go into more detail on the mechanics of the game. But before that, this first encounter here, you want to take down this first guy silently. So when you're crouch walking, you make no noise. So we can approach this guy, take him down. You also make no noise when you're crawling on the ground while prone, but you don't really need to do that. Crouch walking will suffice. Walking while upright and running, of course, will make noise. Running making more noise than walking. So if you're trying to be stealthy, don't do either of those. Just crouch walk everywhere you go. So there's 3 more enemies here. For these first 2 here, I like to line them up and get a collateral shot, but I don't get it here. But I quickly follow up with the next shot here. And this third enemy is actually a sniper, all the way up there. So what I do here is something I don't recommend you do when fighting snipers normally, is I put myself in the out in the open there. But I do that because those trees are in the way, and if I try to fight from cover, they will be blocking my view. But apparently going out there in the open and going prone lets me kill that guy with little to no trouble at all. So snipers are going to be a frequent enemy in this game. They're typically the most dangerous to a face, because with their sniper rifles, they will of course they notice you easier than other enemies will. They have higher accuracy, they rarely miss, and they have a faster fire rate. So anytime there's snipers in the vicinity, you should prioritize killing them first, or as soon as possible. And definitely don't put yourself in any position where they have an easy line of sight on you. So that well-rod pistol you see me use there, it's the only pistol in the game that's silenced. So when I fire it, I make no noise at all. And for this next encounter here, you see me use binoculars. Binoculars are a tool you have on you that you use to observe an area in front of you before you engage. It has the most magnification zoom out of anything you got, even your snipers, even the scopes on your snipers. So you see here I identify a sniper there, which I know is there because I played this game before. But here I want to kill him first, which I do here. So if you look at the top of my scope there, you see there's a little like a white bar there. It's like moving around. That's the wind. So in Sniper Elite V2, on Sniper Elite difficulty, bullets will not travel down in a straight line, because they are affected by both gravity and wind. Gravity, of course, pulls down your bullet. So if you're shooting at a target from far away, you have to aim higher. Yeah, like you have to aim higher from the target, depending on how far away they are. Like the further away they are, the higher up you aim in order to compensate for the gravity. So as you see there, I aimed a little upwards in order to shoot this guy in his torso. And with wind, that white bar you see at the top there, when I'm aiming down my scope, shows you what direction the wind is blowing in by how much. So you see there the white bar is to the right, so that means the wind's blowing right, and not by much, so I don't have to compensate as much by aiming left of my target. So you have to aim against the wind there. So you see there, I aimed a little left at that guy, which normally shouldn't mean I missed, but the wind was blowing right, so I compensated both gravity and wind by aiming above the target and to the left there. So that X-ray cam you saw there, whenever you kill an enemy, usually with a sniper rifle, that happens. It's just a unique way of showing off like the way you kill enemies. Especially you shoot them in like a major organ, like a heart or liver or something. And you may have also noticed score in the bottom of the screen. Oh, before that, there's one more guy in the turret here. Turrets aren't usually that dangerous, especially if you're far away, so it's just easy to kill enemies because they're perfectly still. So you see a score there, a headshot. Scores will often show up when you're killing enemies as well, however, not always. Same with the X-ray cams. So don't rely on them to let you know if you actually killed the enemy or not, especially when you're trying to kill snipers. Because sometimes you fire a shot, nothing happens, and you think, oh, I must have missed, or I just wounded them. But you actually got the kill. So pay attention, and don't rely on those indicators to confirm a kill. So here I do corpses. You see I pick up a trip mine there. So that's the benefit of looting corpses. And of course, I pick up ammo, which is the most common thing you'll get. So for this next encounter here, switch to the well rod, and as a general rule of thumb, whenever you enter buildings, I recommend crouch walking because there's a very good chance there's at least one enemy nearby, and you do not want to raise the alarm. So you see the well rod will take down enemies from a distance silently, and you have to shoot them in the head if you want the guaranteed kill. Otherwise you have to shoot them 3 times, which is not efficient because the well rod has a very slow fire rate, and not each shot will stun the target, so they could easily be moving around while you're trying to kill them. And if you take too long, obviously the enemy will raise the alarm. So here I could have shot that guy, but I usually tend not to because there's a chance the well rod can miss. Don't overestimate the accuracy of the well rod. You do want to be close to your enemies when you kill them. So here I use my binoculars to observe the area, which I recommend you do. But of course I have prior knowledge, so I know this sniper is all the way up here. So he's my first target. But before I start shooting, I want to set some traps. So the 2 types of traps you have are landmines and trip mines. Both basically serve the same purpose. You know, to act as traps and kill any enemies that trigger them. So with trip mines, you set the explosive, then you set a tripwire, so obviously the enemy runs through it, sets off the explosive, kills them. Landmines are these little, like cylinder explosives you set on the ground. Obviously famous for taking down vehicles, but that's for later. So here, I take down the sniper first. So you see there, I aim upwards, compensate for gravity. You will see me do that pretty much all the time, because gravity always plays a role. And with wind, it depends. So see here, wind is blowing to the left, so I have to aim right in my target a little. With that guy there, I didn't need to compensate as much because he was literally right there. So here I actually do a good job of taking down these guys fast. Oh, actually, no, one got by and activated my trip mine. That's okay. That's why they're there. So if you're wondering where you should aim when killing enemies with a sniper rifle, typically center of mass is the best way, but I would say around the torso region, like where their hearts or lungs are, because if you get a bullet there, that's pretty much a guaranteed kill. Obviously, aiming for the head is a guaranteed kill as well with the headshot. Those are more difficult to get, obviously. So you won't see me go for headshots all the time. Usually I aim for the torso, just to increase the chances that I get a one-shot kill. Because the more of those you get, the better. Especially when you're trying to take down multiple enemies. So I don't know why I picked up an MP40 here. Picking up ammo for enemy weapons, such as MP40, you won't get a lot of ammo from them unless you find like an ammo crate that has them. And at the end of the day, SMGs like the MP40 are last resort. So not the most important thing ever, but you should have one on standby. So after picking up the explosives, we have to set them both. So one goes there. And I'll set up the other one. So another mechanic I should elaborate on is your heart rate. So heart rate will determine how much sway your scope has when you're aiming down. Obviously, the higher your heart rate is, the more sway it has, which means the more difficult it will be to line up your shots. So you see here, my heart rate is kind of up, so my scope is kind of swaying a little. And you see here, the bar slowly fills up on the left side there when I'm looking down the scope. And when it's filled up a certain way, when I activate focus time or empty lung there, I can steady my shots. So if it's above the first white line there near the bottom, I steady my aim, so it's perfectly still, which makes it easier to take shots. But if I wait till the bar fills up almost completely above the second line, you will activate focus time, where the game will appear to slow down, and enemies will be moving in slow motion. Thus, will make it easier for you to take down targets, especially if they're moving. So having a low heart rate before you initiate a fight is very beneficial. I don't always use it, of course, but it is a mechanic you should take advantage of, especially if you find yourself struggling with sniping. So after taking down those three guys here, I'm good for the rest of this area. So set the last set of explosives here, loot these corpses, and then we go to our vantage point. Dynamite. Oh, actually, before that, I need to set some traps here because there's a convoy coming which consists of like some mini tank vehicle and some trucks. And our target to kill is actually in one of those trucks. Normally, you're supposed to stop the convoy and then kill the guy with your sniper rifle, but if I set up traps here, like landmines, trip mines, and dynamite, dynamite will be what destroys the trucks, because it's that strong. However, dynamite will not go off on its own. Unlike trip mines and landmines, they must be triggered by a gunfire or an explosive. So you see here I put down a dynamite, and I set up a trip mine or a landmine next to it. So if an enemy triggers the landmine or trip mine, the dynamite will go as well, thus destroying the trucks, making life easier. Make sure you separate the explosives though, because you see that I set it down in one spot, then set the second set further away, because you don't want them all going off at once typically. But it could depend. I think for that one, actually I didn't set them that far apart. So here, of course, if we enter a building, crouch walk. Because enemies are here, we do not want to make noise. So there's one guy here, shoot in the face. Two more guys, one of them being a sniper, off in the distance. And here, I'll take advantage of the rock mechanic. So if you look in the bottom right, you see my piece of equipment is a rock. Well, what does a rock do? Well, it makes noise.
Was war das?
So you have an infinite number of rocks to use, and you can throw it somewhere to make noise, to force nearby enemies to come investigate. So this saves you the trouble of having to put yourself in harm's way to silently take down enemies. So you see here, because I lured him in, I could take him down like that, and I didn't have to expose myself to the sniper prematurely. So the sniper's up there. Unfortunately, he saw me, but it's no problem, I take him down anyways. Again, compensate for gravity, for wind, you know, the usual, and kill him. 2,000 points. Not the points matter. The goal here is to complete the mission. So now all the enemies are dead, move up to my objective, the overlook here, to trigger the next set of events. So here, I wait until that front vehicle gets near this set of explosives and I shoot, which destroys it. And obviously I want to destroy it because it's difficult to deal with that thing if you have to do it in person. So here, one of these guys triggers the traps, boom, both trucks down. So that's like 10 enemies there taken care of just like that. Now here, a tank moves in. Tanks will also be an enemy you have to deal with several times throughout the campaign, and you see there those red canister lids are what you must shoot at, because it sets off the gas tanks, causing them to explode. However here, I actually can just shoot the first set of explosives to kill the tank, not worry about aiming at those small targets. Of course in the future, you will have to shoot those red, like canister caps, but I'll show that off in the future how we do that. So your second priority there was that guy in the turret. Again, easy target. And then after that, because we have an overlook advantage on these enemies, we can take them down with ease. If I'm making this look too easy, it comes with experience. So when you're aiming at enemies with your sniper rifle, maybe like how you're supposed to take gravity and wind into consideration all the time. Well, gravity never changes, of course, so how much you have to compensate for depends on how far away your target is, and it's the same every time. Wind can be different depending on where you aim, so when I look down my scope, I quickly take a look up the top of my scope to look at the wind direction, and then I note how far away they are, and all of that comes together in order to determine where I shoot. So coming up here, we have one more group of enemies to take care of. They will not spawn in until we get a little close though. So here I make the smart choice of retreating once the enemies spawn in. However, one of them actually gets a little too close to me. So you see it in the background, there they are. So I retreat here a little, which you should do, and this is a good time to use my grenades, because these enemies are kind of in a lot of cover from the destroyed trucks, so I toss some grenades. And this guy gets too close. So incapacitation right there. What I just did is when you shoot an enemy with your sniper rifle, but you don't kill them, but you deal enough damage to them to knock them down. So it's kind of like a last stand thing. They will eventually bleed out if left alone, however their allies can come by and try to help them out. So they could be used as bait. However, in the future levels you'll see they're more annoying than helpful. But we'll talk about that later. On to the objective here to end the mission. So thank you all for watching. If you like this walkthrough so far and like to see it continue, be sure to like and leave a comment. Definitely helps and encourages me. Other than that, I'll see you next time. Bye.